I'll be taking you to Delta State today. Perhaps something that is worrying, the killing of soldiers who are said to be on official duty. So the governor of Delta State, the governor visited President Bola Tinubu over the crisis in the state and the killing of soldiers in the Okuama community. Take a listen to what the governor said after his meeting with President Tinubu today.
It is necessary for me to brief the commander-in-chief, and that's what I've come to do, the full details of what happened. Mr. President assured me that the peace, as in support of the peace, and we both condemn the killing of the officers and the soldiers, because they are there on peace mission. And what is happening now is something that we did not bargain for. But we want to assure everybody that there will be no more attack on the villages. If there's anyone that has happened in the past, there will be no attack. But we know that those who are culpable will be brought to book.
All right. Those are the assurances coming from the governor after his meeting with President Bola Tinubu. But of course, on Sunday, the president had come out strongly and in strong terms. He's released a statement from his office saying that those who are found culpable will be dealt with. I'll give you insight into what the president said in the course of the program. So part of our analysis tonight on the program. But again, the armed forces of Nigeria had begun mourning the 17 military personnel who were gruesomely murdered. Angry youths at Okuama village in the Hueli South local government area of Delta State. And flags are now to be flown at half-mast in all military locations in the country. Our military, as was told China's television, that the Nigerian military, the Nigerian Navy, and the Nigerian Air Force are to obey the directive. Also, the Senate and the House of Reps had a special sitting today in that respect where they debated the matter. And they're asking for immediate compensation to the families of the slain soldiers who are cut and their life cut short in these dastardly act of these gruesome killing. Let's get some insight into what this means altogether. I'm being joined tonight by one of the leaders in Hueli South. Is Olorogun Slick Oshare, who joins us live here in our Abuja studio, and as well Dr. Kabiru Adamu, who is a security consultant and the chief executive of Beacon Consulting, a security outfit here out of Abuja. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Let me ask you, because it does look like we are hearing a lot coming from Okuama and all of the communities around it. We're hearing a lot from the military. We are hearing a lot from government. But, I mean, you as a leader within that area, why did your people kill the soldiers?
Yes, with all due respect, first of all, we have to really sympathize with the families of our fallen heroes, because those soldiers are our heroes. People who sacrifice their life, who put their life down to defend you and I, to protect the nation, to protect our... It's a sad thing for it to happen. And it happened not in a battlefront, but right at home, which was not a battlefront, in the hands of brothers and sisters. It's a painful thing. But I do not want to accept that they were killed by my people. Nobody knows who killed them yet. And that's why the president has ordered that the thorough investigation should be made. To start pointing fingers at some people and say your people killed, I don't think it's fair at this moment. So that's what I'd say.
So, I mean, the information that you have as the leader in that area, what are those information? What do you know? What can you tell us? Because the information that we have is that those soldiers lost their lives on Okuama soil. Those people were killed right when Okuama people are there, and they are killing as much as lieutenant colonels, killing majors. These are highly placed military officers in the Nigerian army.
Yeah, from the information coming from the press and the reports we heard was that the soldiers had met the community leaders and they have been welcomed with the traditional honorable way of welcoming visitors, the colonels, with a sign of peace. usually supported with some token of money. That was done. And I understand that when the soldiers wanted to ask for 3 of the leaders to go along with them, the people refused. And then the soldiers started shooting. That was what the papers reported, not what I saw, what the papers reported. And that report has been consistent over the period. And I think it was on their way out that the killing took place. The sad killing took place. Now, until investigations come out, we cannot really say precisely who did the killing, because we're also talking about militants who also came around that area. And militants are neither on one side or the other side. So we cannot judge at this time and point fingers at that particular person or particular persons that killed them. So that situation is here. That is what I will stand by.
Is it true? Because the narrative coming from your people are such that there are reprisals from the military. Is that true?
Yeah, we saw the video where the community was being burnt down.
Well, are those recent videos, though?
Yes, they are recent.
Can you confirm that Okuama has been under siege, under attack?
Yes.
That's what you know.
Yeah,
right now.
They said the reprisal took place, and I don't think that the reprisal has been denied.
Has anybody been killed in Okuama village?
Yeah, people have been killed.
Community.
People have been killed, and children, pregnant women, some are still in the bushes, and the old people said the bushes.
Is it by the militants, or who are those killing your people?
The report said that it was a reprisal after the discovery of the death of the soldiers.
By the soldiers?
That was the same reprisal.
But the military has since come out that that is not true.
Because they even said that reprisal even spread all the way to Bayelsa, from what we are reading in the papers, what we are getting from the news.
But what are your people telling you on the ground?
That's the same thing the people are saying. The people are saying the military came for reprisal. And the whole place has been deserted, the houses have been burnt, and children, pregnant women, old people, it's a pathetic situation. It's a pathetic situation on all sides there.
The military has since said that is not true, that nobody, their men have done nothing. They've waited and to the instructions of the commander-in-chief, the CNC, the president, and that nothing of such has happened, and that the community is playing cheap politics over this matter.
I wouldn't want to argue that with reports you are saying coming from the military. But if independent people go to the place is there. Let independent people go to the place. And somehow, unfortunately, when the governor visited, when the Delta State governor visited, the press were not allowed to come in.
We understand that the governor perhaps was not even able to get to the Okuama.
No, the governor got there, but the press was not even allowed to come in.
We understand that the governor was not even allowed to get there.
The press were not allowed to come in. So we still wonder why the press was not allowed to come in to give us another view of the situation. The press also come in. Why not? Who stopped the press from coming? Why wouldn't the press
What don't we know that you can tell us?
These are the things. So what I would say now...
What is it that we do not know that is happening that could have caused that kind of thing?
What we do not know that is happening is that the people who actually killed the soldier, that is one. Then the people who instigated the killing, there must be some people. That's why I'm really happy that the president said, go all out and fish out the people. Those who instigated the people, we need to find them out. We need to find whether they were Nigerians in the first place, whether they were people from Okuama, whether they were people from Okuama, or whatever. We need to find out that. So at this point in time, we should be careful at who we point fingers at. There must be some people who instigated it, or who may want to incite the authorities against the people of Okuama. There may be such situation.
I mean,
so in the
because we see publications by the people, you leaders in that area coming out, and you're posing questions as to the role of the military in that peace mission. You are questioning how the military only went to Okuama and not to Koloba, where there were a lot of questions being raised by leaders. So why are you raising all of those questions? Because those questions are raising from fundamental issues as to how the Okuama people perceive the mission of the military.
Yes, the questions are being raised. We raise those questions because all the narratives coming out seem to be pressing on Okuama. Why there are two communities quarreling? Why are now the crisis coming on, all the pressure is now on one side and not touching the other side? As if the other side is just innocent. So these are the things we are questioning. These are the things, that's why we raise the question. These are two people fighting. Two people fighting. Why were the soldiers on one side? And why are the narratives going to one side alone? My community and my next door community had once had a fight about 2 years ago. And there are soldiers stationed in my community. When the other community came to attack my community, the soldiers in my community didn't participate. They kept quiet. We now asked them, you saw fight the community. They said, no, it was not their duty to interfere in what was going into community. And somehow the governor came and we resolved it. We are two neighbors. The two communities, we could shout at each other like that. Brothers of the same father, the same mother. And it happened like that.
I mean, one of the questions and the polls has
that's
been
why
raised.
We're asking the question.
Yeah.
Why did that? And why pointing finger and that this person came when we are not even investigated? These are the things that we make us raise those questions.
So
it's a sad affair.
So these are some of the posers raised by the leaders in that area. They're saying, why was the military peace mission escorted by Ijaw youths? How come that civilian members of that peace mission survived to tell the story, yet no military man survived it?
That is why we are very happy that the president said it should be thoroughly investigated. By the time it's you see, these things happen.
What can you tell us about the quarrel, about the conflict between Okolobah?
The quarrel was just a land dispute. It's just a land dispute between one family and another family. It's just a quarrel of land dispute. And land disputes things happen like that over and over.
Does it look like one side has a military connection over the other? Is that what it's looking like?
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. That is exactly. So
Okuama people feel that they are being unnecessarily pressured. Is that what it's looking like?
Yes, yeah, the pressure is more on Okuama. They don't have anybody to speak for them. That's if you see the whole narrative. They don't even hear the name of Okolobah in the whole matter now. Everybody is Okuama. Where is Okolobah? But I have understand that from 2 days ago now, that Okolobah, because of the reaction now, the Okolobah itself is now even deserted. Because they're also afraid. They're also afraid. You see, one thing people must, I've listened to news, I've read some papers. Sometimes they make it look as if it's an ethnic thing. It's not even an ethnic thing. It's just individuals. And some people who seem to have more relationship closer.
Highly placed
and then they push in there. Now, somehow, maybe for fear of litigation, people are deliberately not mentioning names yet. People are deliberately not mentioning names.
But the people the families that are involved are highly placed persons.
Yes.
That's what's going on.
Yeah. So that is the thing. So by the time we go into the re-investigation, like the president have ordered, the truth shall come to be.
Right.
And we can see, and that time, maybe that is when the nation will come out and say, we also need to sympathize with those children, with those pregnant women, with those old people who lost their lives in the process of random shooting.
Let's bring in Dr. Kabiru Adamu. What have we learned from this? What do you think went on?
And thank you, Sheung. Unfortunately, it is a repetition of the cycle of failure of operational security that we've seen repeatedly over time. One of the most recent occurrences in 2014 in Nasarawa State, if you recall, in Alakio Kingdom, when our security forces, almost 100 of them were gunned down in a similar manner. And then, of course, during the NSAS protest, when security forces were targeted as a result of the failure of operational security, and several of them were killed. Of course, before then, there were incidents in Benue State, in Cross River, name them. In all of these instances, it was a pure failure of operational security, where our security forces will go into environments that they had no intelligence. Because clearly, any threat element that has the capacity to gun down 14 military men at the same time is not just happening. It was planned. There was enough, if there was enough intelligence, it could have been picked up. And that is where I think I would probably advise my brother here. The community has a responsibility. It has a responsibility to support the Nigerian state in fishing out and presenting to the Nigerian state those who were responsible. This is not the time to fold our hands and allow these detractors to have their way. Someone in the community saw them. Weapons were moved. People came in there. People took positions. Someone saw them. And that type of information should have been volunteered already. And I think this is the time for us to speak as one nation. We had our president, and I think we all commend the president for his unequivocal statement, giving directives, giving authority to the military to go after and fish out the detractors. Beyond that, I also expect the entire gamut of the Nigerian security sector to be behind the military, because this is an attack on the security forces. If we allow this to go, the next one may be the police, it may be the SSS, it may be, name them. So all of them need to come together to fish out this. And I think at the center of all of this is intelligence. If we conduct a forensic investigation, take our one step after the other back to when the incident happened, trace occurrences, what were the kind of movements into that location, using both human, technical, and signal intelligence. We do have enough signal intelligence to show us the kind of movement that took place. There are several threat elements in that region, no doubt about it. And one of those threat elements is responsible. Now, did they do it because they wanted to achieve their own personal objective, or did they do it because they were contracted by someone to achieve that objective? So these are things that a forensic investigation would have shown us. And Sheun, I want to say it here unequivocally that time is not on our side. We should have done that yesterday already. This incident happened almost how many days ago? By now, this type of information should be available. The right type of arrest should have been made. And then, of course, the necessary investigation that would lead to an uncovering of what really happened should have been done. But I want to say in clear terms that this is not acceptable. This is enough is enough, where innocent security forces who have been deployed in whatever instances would be gone down in the manner that they are gone down. Again, at the root of this is operational security.
We'll get to learn more from what the National Assembly is saying about this matter. But I'd like you to react to what the president said. And let me bring back the quote of the president, the statement coming from the presidency on Sunday. And this is what the president said. And a part of a portion of that statement, and I quote, he says, members of our armed forces are at the heart and core of our nationhood. Any attack on them is a direct attack on our nation. We will not accept this wicked act. The Defense Headquarters and Chief of Defense Staff have been granted full authority to bring to justice anybody found to have been responsible for this unquestionable crime against the Nigerian people. My government will not relent until we achieve peace and tranquility in every part of Nigeria, end of quote. And it is so heart-wrenching that you discover that the kind of people that were involved, the quality of the officers that are involved, for a lot of our viewers who do not know. There was a commanding officer, 2 majors, 1 captain, and 12 soldiers, and 1 civilian also. For those who may not even know, that a commanding officer is next to a brigadier, isn't it? And you have a captain, a major,
and a lieutenant colonel.
And a lieutenant colonel. These are people who are 10 years away from retirement, to the peak of their career, to become main generals. These are people who command men to war. They're very senior persons, as you will imagine.
Cost a lot to train.
Yeah, cost a lot to train. And that's why a lot of people are angry with what happened.
And beyond that, Sheun, they are symbols representing the state. They were not there on their own. They were sent there by the state to achieve an objective. So an attack on them is an attack on the state. And I must commend the president for his very clear statement and his directive. That is what we need. But like I always say, the administrative structure around the president also need to pick that statement and turn it into administrative tools. There are 29 MDAs, ministries, departments, and agencies in security. Each of them should be given clear directives. There are some, communication happened. I'm in a public space, I'm mindful what I say, but a lot can be garnered that would give us an indication of what exactly happened following this directive by Mr. President. And I'm hoping that those managers that administrative structure around the president would pick up that statement, turn it into tasking orders with clear directives and timelines for the production of what we need to unravel this unfortunate incident that has affected our
tonight, just a moment.
The culprits must be brought to book.
Yeah, I
mean, clearly,
and
to send a message.
There's a role the community and you, those of you who are leaders in that community, need to play. Because if anything is happening in your own household, you need to be able to own up and be able to fish out and say, these are the people that are responsible. For a moment, I want the producer to bring back the picture, because the military has since released the pictures of those who are involved. Tonight, our nation join our voices. These are people who, not in the battlefront, not in any war situation, lost their lives. And today, our hearts goes out to their families, to all of these gallant men who are lost their lives in a situation that is uncalled for, in a situation that should never, never have happened. Perhaps a civil situation would have resolved this matter. So sad that these gentlemen, gallant men, lost their lives in this manner. We'll take a break, everyone, but when we come back, it's going to be our eyes on how this kind of situation should never, never, never happen in our country. Unprovoked, unprecedented way of killing gallant soldiers that have been trained by this country. It's a moment when we say we need more boots on the ground, and more technically minded officers are now being gunned down, slain in a land where this should never have happened. We take a break and we'll come back to talk more. Join us again, everyone. All right, thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Some Google Earth images of where we are talking about in Delta State is in the Hueli area of Delta State. Of course, you can see those pictures right there on your screen, and drilling down to Okuama, and you can see just how the nearness of that community to the sea. Yeah.
Which moves on down, drains down to Brutu and into the Atlantic Ocean. That's how it flows.
Yeah. So a lot of militancy happen in that area, isn't it?
A lot of it, yeah. That's the real center of militancy and all those ones. And there are areas that have been very difficult for even the military to manage
over the years.
Yeah, because the creeks are many and they are interwoven. You can squeeze through one creek up and down. And with all the boys on the speedboats over time, they have mastered it so much. They have mastered it so much that even the Navy is training to see how they can master it as well as them. Sometimes the creeks may be very shallow. So big ships cannot go there, bigger crafts cannot go there. And they're flowing.
I mean, apart from
the thick forests around it too, where you have the thick vegetation around it too, yeah.
But I mean, you've explained what the crisis was between Okoloba and Okuama. It was a land issue, right? And in this kind of situation, one would be wondering the role of the traditional rulers in all of this.
Yes, that's you see, sometimes when this happens, the land matter has been dragging off sometimes. In most cases, what I experience even from my place, it may not be the two communities as a whole that may be involved. Maybe just one individual or a family with another family in another community. And by the time it escalates, you now rub the two communities as if they are involved. And if one party is connected or has so much money, it now uses influence and some other ways to come into it. And then sometimes the traditional rulers, I don't know what happened on that, some traditional rulers are not very forceful too. They may not even have enough influence, they may not even have enough money. Sometimes they even survive by the largesse they get from other members.
So you know the reason why I brought up this earth image of that environment, and I like you, Dr. Kabir Adamu, to speak to this. You said that arresting that situation and arresting the culprits or those the culprits in this matter in the very few hours are very, very key, very important. And that's why I brought out the earth image, so we can get an understanding. And he has said, I mean, he's the son of the soil, so he understands the terrain, how difficult it is to be able to arrest some of these people. If you are not able, and I mean, covering elections, I've gone to communities that easily, people, when they go to school, children, you see them, they go to school across the river, and they swim, they put their school uniform inside a poly bag, wrap it around their neck, they swim across and they wear it. The same thing when they're coming back from school. And these people have understood and mastered the environment such that if you are not from there, it's difficult to catch them. How difficult could it be if these militants or these, whatever these people are, how difficult is it going to be to be able to arrest them because of how they meander around these areas?
It's difficult, no doubt. The environment is an environment that allows for multiple exits. They could exit the environment on land. They could exit it on water. I doubt by air. So it's likely that we're looking at these two components, land and water. Now, the capability to block exit through both land and water is what is the challenge. And my worry is that over time, this is not a new information. This is an information that we know. Any security force, in fact, you as a journalist that is operating in the Niger Delta is aware of that challenge. And so by now, we should have mastered the art of cordoning off. Security is deployed in concentric cycles. This is one thing in Nigeria we need to admit. We deploy security directly in an environment where we are short-staffed, there are not enough personnel, we still deploy directly. That is archaic, it's not something we should continue. That concentric deployment. So as an example, look at the environment. What kind of cordons are you going to create to limit the exit so that that concentric cycle will allow you? And in the era of technology, I'm not just talking of physical deployment, surveillance, both aerial, signal, name them. The type of surveillance that would allow you to understand even the movement of ants in that location does not require human beings. So for me, this is what we should have concentrated on that we didn't a couple of years ago, but this is the time for us to look closely at environments like this and then deploy in concentric cycles through using both human and technology that would allow us to know developments and happening in those locations. There are evidences that can be gathered that would help us in unraveling the situation. I'll give you an example. The trademark from what we had, certain components of the body was removed from those soldiers. And
really? Those are the information coming.
That's the trademark. There are certain criminals in that location who do that. And the people in that location know them. Again, I'm mindful of the fact that I'm in an environment, a public environment. It's not everything that one can see here. But those are things that you sit down as a forensic investigation, as an intelligence operative, map them out together and come up with pictures so that you can now start looking into them and then to unravel. You cross up on.
So there's a possibility of the dismembering of these bodies.
It is not a possibility.
It's not that some were dismembered.
They were dismembered.
You see, what we're saying now, except some of the culprits are organized militants of what they are, and they are covered by some people, they are going to pick all of them. If they are random, they are going to pick them, because where are they going to run to? They are going to they are going to look for shelter. They are going to look for food to eat. They are going to find a place to hide, and people will find them out, because in every community, every rascal is known in every community. The community may not touch the rascal yet, but when the time comes, they know who and who can do what. Who and who has been involved in certain things before.
We should be asking you who are the leaders in that area.
No, I'm not.
Because,
like I said, I'm not from Okuama. I'm just from Mugele South.
You are from Okuama local government area.
No, Okuama is not a local government. It's just a tiny village.
Yeah.
I'm from Mugele South local government area. Yeah. And I've never been to Okuama all my life before. I don't even know the route to it, but I know it's along the river. What I've said that in such communities, boys who are rascally, boys who are involved in militancy, boys who are doing this kind of, they are known. So when chiefs are down like this, among themselves, among the survivors themselves, they will paint themselves out.
I want to add
where are they running to?
I want to add that when the president made that statement, and I recommended that the administrative team around the president raise tasking orders, these are the kind of things. As an example, I expect the police in that location to have profiles of all the criminals and their signatures. There are certain criminals that can remove hats, and the police should know them. There are certain, the SSS too, as being the intelligence element in that, they should have profiles.
And I'm sure that is already going on, because there are certain things that cannot be said in public. The military intelligence is not sleeping. The police intelligence is not sleeping. They are doing things which they will not tell the public now.
Yeah.
And at the end, like you rightly said, there are people who are known to be harvesting human, who are involved in such cannibalistic. They are known people. So when these things happen now, fingers are going to point at such people. I trust the military that to be able to put that.
Why?
But like I said, we cannot point fingers at anybody now until the investigation is completed. Then we can rightly pick out the people.
But I would like to add, and this is a clear message. The first thing I did when that incident happened is to, commend the president for that statement.
Fantastic.
And I want to add that, at least in my space, there is a total agreement that those culprits should be brought out. And I think the earlier that the community supports that and brings them out, the better for everybody.
And I mean, those within your sector, they readily started to talk about Odi, Zakibiam, and now we are seeing what is happening in Okuama. But quickly, let me ask you, what is the relation or the link of the Ijaws? Are the Okuama people Ijaws?
The Okuama people are Urobo. The Koloba people are
Ijaws. So what is the linkage between the Bayelsa Ijaws and this whole scenario playing out?
Well, I don't know the link of Bayelsa Ijaw, but the state boundaries are artificial. State boundaries are artificial. The living of the people is a continuous thing. So by the time you stray to the next state, you won't even know.
Olorogun, does this incident have anything to do with rival groups in Delta and Bayelsa? No. There are insinuations, just for a moment, that there is more than meets the eye, maybe oil bunkering, for instance.
Well, if yes, that could happen. That was why I said earlier on that we cannot point fingers at the Okuama people, that the Okuama people did the killing. That was why I said that we need to be careful in pointing finger. There could be a different underground fighting somewhere.
But you have established tonight on the program that this is a land dispute. Fact.
There's a land dispute.
That's from what you said.
Yes.
That there's a land dispute. But you have also established for us that between Okuama and Koloba people, there seems to be more people who they think are more influential in Okuama, who are and Okoloba, who Okuama people think that more pressure are on Okuama people. That's what you have.
I want to say the public narratives have been putting more pressure on Okuama. The public narratives have been putting more pressure on Okuama.
So because I'm seeing that from the publication coming from Uheli leaders and leaders from that area and the posers which they've raised, is that why Okuama? What are they doing there in Okuama? Why not Okoloba? These are some of the posers that leaders like you are posing about what really happened and the mission of the military, and that why were the military killed and some of those who escorted them who are non-military escaped on earth?
If I make, okay.
Yeah, you see, I said the public narrative, Okuama is the name that keeps on popping up. But we are saying that, like you also have identified, there may be a different underground interest going on that sees the opportunity to exhibit what they have exhibited, which turn out to be very ugly and painful to the nation. So, and I said, let's not point fingers at anybody yet until we find out who is there. Because we have had the case of militants, we have had the case of oil bunkering, we have had cases of those things. It's like a mafia situation. Mafia situation sees an opportunity to exhibit, to vent anger on what they wanted to do and blame it on a situation that is not part of this thing. That's what I say. And I said, the pressure should not be put on just one community alone.
So because, what we have learned from your submission today is that if there are conflict, if there's a conflict between two communities, and it does look like it's a land dispute, and from what you have also told us is that it looks like one community is being put under pressure more than the other. Maybe one community has more connection, highly placed connection, such that the pressure is now on one community, leading to all of this. But you wanted to say something, Dr. Kaburadam.
I wanted to mention the collapse of the traditional justice system that we haven't discussed here. It is because of that collapse that this issue reached the point that it reached. Land dispute happens virtually everywhere in Nigeria. And in those days, it was the traditional justice system that will address those land issues. Now, where the traditional justice system fails, you expect that the state government will be able to address this issue. And because the state government did not address that issue, that is why it reached the stage. It escalated to that point. Another issue that I think perhaps in the course of the investigation would need to be looked at is why the military got involved. Because traditionally, the mediation in land dispute is not the function of the military.
Would it be that it's been out of hand, it's gotten so bad that it's gotten out of hands of the police or the civil authorities?
Would have known. Where civil strife reaches a point, I mean, your station would have reported it. And I didn't see it on your station. Rather, my database, it wasn't recorded there. It was like he indicated a low-level conflict between two families. So again, this is not the time to say give blames, but if we want to solve this problem, in the investigation, they should identify the rules of engagement, the standard operating procedures that allow deployment of security forces to certain incidents. What was the role of the police? What was the role of like I mentioned, the state government, the local government, and then, of course, the traditional justice system.
Let me allow you, Dr. Cabral, I'd like you to respond to these, and I was saying that people in your sector are easily making reference to Odi and Zaki. I wanted to know what that implies. Well, take a listen to the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, who has been quoted to have said that this could not be people from Nigeria, that maybe they are mercenaries. Take a listen to him.
I think the Senate awaits the outcome of the investigations. So I urge the committees on defense, committee on army, Committee on Navy, and the Committee on Air Force combined to liaise with the military to find out, to obtain first-hand for us the outcome of the investigation on in respect of these dastardly killings. By the time the whole thing is established, we will know whether the people who were killed as a result of community conflict or as a result of external forces. Whatever we have condemned, and we are not happy. No Nigerian is happy over this incident.
What do you make of that, Dr. Adam?
This is one of the first few times that I'm not seeing humor in the person of the president. He's known to be a very humorous person, but at least now we're seeing that seriousness. I think that's a part of the statement that was not mentioned here, where he alluded to mercenaries. I think it's too early to reach that kind of conclusion. I'm also a little bit surprised that all the committees he mentioned are in the armed forces. These issues are better handled by the...
So when he said that these people may not be from Nigeria, that they may be mercenaries, he was quoted to have said that on the floor today. What sense do you make of that?
It's possible that the phases of trauma, the first phase is denial. It's very possible that the Senate President is in that phase where his first reaction will be denial until perhaps the evidence is put before him that maybe they are not mercenaries. Because, I mean, as a security expert who understands the threat elements in that location, I know there are threat capabilities that can do what...
Quickly, I'd like you to also listen to the Minister of Information. There's something he also said in relation to that. Take a listen to him. Okay, all right. I guess that's not ready. But let's wrap this up quickly. And I say that in 30 seconds, if you make a sense of the implication of what is being implied in your sector, Odi and Zakibian, in relation to this.
It's the fear of the reaction of the military, how heavy-handed that response would be. What happened in Udi, what happened in Zaki Biam was the entire village being leveled and several people being killed. So that fear that could be repeat itself. But I'm very, very happy with the persons we have as the service chiefs at the moment. They've shown restraint. They also understand international humanitarian law. And so it's not likely that we're going to see a repetition of Zaki Biam and Udi.
All right. Thank you so much indeed, everyone, for coming tonight. Olorogun Sleek Oshariwe is a leader in the Hueli area of Delta State, and Dr. Kabira Adamu, who is a security expert and the chief executive of Beacon Consulting, a leading security company here in Nigeria. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.